All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Kohalor Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach you well, peace and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity. All right, I'm the brother Abal Gabar from Great Millstone, Tampa, coming at you with a lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai, and Lord willing, edifying to the hopeful elect. All right, and I was thinking about doing this lesson earlier in the day, and I saw that the elder Ash here in Great Millstone, Tampa, was pretty much going into the same topic. So I'm gonna play a little bit of his video. I haven't finished his video yet. I'm about 8 minutes in, but I want to play the beginning part of this lesson because in the time we're coming into, all we're gonna have to do is believe that the Lord is with us, man. Just have faith and believe that Yahweh Shai is gonna be with us. And we know that the scriptures say the things written aforetime were written for our learning, you know. So these accounts in the scriptures are here for us to reflect on, to comfort us and to give us hope in the time we're entering into, man, because we're getting ready to come up against the dragon, all right? And the elect will get the victory over the dragon, this beast system, all right? NATO, EU, all right? Mark of the beast, via the faith of Yahweh Shai. But before I play the elders video, this is Sirach 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So all we got to do is keep striving, striving for perfection in the spirit, striving for the truth unto death. Be as the scripture says, hey, Yahweh shall be faithful unto death. All right, be faithful unto death. All right, and you're going to get a crown of life. So that's all we got to keep doing. Keep believing, stay on fire, and watch how the Lord is going to work miracles in the times we entering into, man. We're going to get some of these accounts in the spirit, and Lord willing, it's edifying to the hopeful elect. But without further ado, let me go ahead and play the elders video real quick. His lesson is entitled, The Lord Will Fight for His Elect. All right, the Lord will fight for His elect.
Sirach 4 and 28 in the GNT say, stand up for what is right, even if it costs you your life. So again, that's why we present ourselves as a living sacrifice. We make ourselves the enemy of this world. All right, a target. That's why the scriptures say, like, therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth. And it absolutely. All right, because the world despises Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But we stand up for what's right through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. We've been, all right, Lord's will be part of the number. We've been preordained, all right, predestinated to serve, come back and serve the Lord. So that in the last days that we're living in, the Lord protects us. All right. And you're gonna see, all right, they that the angels campeth around about them that fear the Lord. You're gonna see, all right, how the Lord fights for us very soon. It's gonna be undeniable. You're gonna see superheroes in real life, and it's gonna be hell. You might see an angel manifest himself and slay people in front of us to protect us.
Yep, and we're gonna get that account where an angel slayed what was it, 185,000, I believe. We're gonna get the account, Assyrians, that were coming up against uh um the Israelites during that time. All right. And the men of the Lord, the Israelites didn't have to lift a finger. The angel slayed 185,000. So we're entering into the time of great deliverance, a time of great miracles being done, and once again, the things written aforetime were written for our learning. All right, and the elder is going into King David, and I was actually gonna go into that as well. So we're gonna read that. All right, the account of King David, because look, hey, we don't trust in um you know carnal weapons. Our stock is in the faith of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And nothing is impossible with the Lord, man. So, and the Lord is gonna make it known who his elect is. Then shall it be known who are my chosen. because the elect members of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Lord willing that be us, brothers of the faith, we're going to see these miracles take place. Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to literally work miracles on brothers, man, that are fitted for mercy. As the scriptures say, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. So all we have to do is believe on our power, and that's all Israel ever had to do is pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the Lord will fight for him. Hey, shalom, bro. Brother Naiquam, shalom. I'm gonna go ahead and make you a moderator on this channel as well. All right. Managing moderator. All right. Brother Drop, Deuteronomy 20:4. For Yahweh your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. All right. And the Lord did that in times past. We're gonna read the account of King David. We're gonna read the account of Jehoshaphat. Right. We're gonna read the account of the angels killing the Assyrians. All right, and all this time, the Lord fought for us. Even the time of Moses, it was Yahweh Shem Yahushai that was fighting for us, man. The Lord working through certain men. But see, in the time we're entering into, we're getting ready to be hated and despised of everybody. Why? Because we follow after Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And we are not of this world. And if like the scriptures say, if you were of the world will love his own. I'm gonna grab it real quick. All right. But since we're not of the world hates us. So we're getting ready to be hated of everybody. But don't fear. That's the thing. You're not supposed to fear what man can do. You're supposed to fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And the Lord is going to fight for us, man. The Lord is going to work some miracles in the time we're coming into. All right. This is John 15:18. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. Right. Because really, these people, these people don't really hate us. They hate the spirit that we come in. And we're coming in the spirit of Yahweh Shai. We are coming and we're portraying the testimony of Yahweh Shai, which is what? The spirit of prophecy. So in turn, you're going to be hated. All right. We're not of this world. John 15:19. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So understand, we are going to be hated. We're going to be despised. We already are hated. People scoff, talk shit, but hey, the Lord is going to work miracles through brothers, man. Through you brothers of the faith, the Lord is going to raise brothers up on a whole nother level. Or the Lord might just fight for you. You don't even need to get the spiritual power, which certain brothers are going to get the spiritual power. That's another way the Lord can fight for you. But there's accounts where the Lord, you don't got to do nothing. You just stand still and you watch people, bodies dropping all around you. Bodies dropping all around you, thousands of people dying. And the only explanation to it is the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. So now let's get into the account real quick of Jehoshaphat. I'm going to start at 2 Chronicles 20:1. We've been going into this in the history classes. And then I'm going to jump down, all right, just so we can get the context. So 2 Chronicles 20:1, which this is when Jehoshaphat was king. I believe he was the fourth king over the southern kingdom, Judah. All right, but this is 2 Chronicles 20:1. It says, Judah is invaded. It says, now it happened after this that the Moabites and the Ammonites, together with some of the Meunites, came to make war against Jehoshaphat. Then it was reported to Jehoshaphat, a great multitude has come against you from beyond the Dead Sea, out of Aram, and behold, they are in Hazazon Tamar. Then Jehoshaphat was afraid and set himself determinedly as his vital need to seek the Lord. See, and Jehoshaphat was, a righteous king. Because as you go through the history of the kings that were set up, you had certain kings that were wicked, and you had certain kings that were righteous. All right. And all the northern kingdom kings was going off, all right, into idolatry, all right, and other things, greed. But it says, but in this account, Jehoshaphat was a righteous king. So he sought to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. As he heard that the Moabites and the Ammonites were coming up against him, he turned to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, to the Lord. All right, it says, and he proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. So the people of Judah gathered together to seek help from the Lord. Indeed, they came from all the cities of Judah to seek Yahweh, longing for him with all their heart. And that's what we're doing right now. You know, the household of faith, the house of David that's being raised up. The Lord is raising us up, and we are constantly praying to Yahweh Shemel Shai to fight for us, to bring this devil down. All right. And we always go into Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose. We always talk about the plagues and the death and destruction that's coming. But we have full faith that the Lord is going to be with us and fight for us in this time. We have full faith, and we believe, Lord willing, we those predestined elect members, that the Lord is going to feed us in the middle of a famine, that the Lord is going to give us water and drinks in abundance, as the scriptures say. You know, so once again, the Lord is going to fight for us. All right, just stand still, just be patient. You know, it says, now I'm going to jump down to verse 14. All right, it says, Jahaziel answers the prayer. So, you know, Jehoshaphat and Israel, you know, Judah, you know, gathered to pray. They were praying in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know, to deliver them, to fight for us, right? Verse 14, then in the midst of the assembly, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jeiel, a Levite of the sons of Asaph. He said, listen carefully, all you people of Judah and you inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat. Yahweh says this to you, be not afraid or dismayed at this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Yeah, so the Lord don't worry about numbers. We ain't worried about numbers. All right. The Lord has never, you know, been a numbers guy. All right. The Lord has never been a numbers guy. The Lord deals with the small numbers, really. All right. It says, where are we at? Verse 16, go down against them tomorrow. Behold, they will come up by the Asin of Ziz, and you will find them at the end of the river valley in front of the wilderness of Jeriel. You need not fight in this battle. Take your positions, stand and witness the salvation of Yahweh who is with you. And that's heavy because the scriptures say, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. All right. So in the time we're coming into, the Lord is going to have it to where, you know, the men of the Lord are going to be so protected. All we're going to have to do is watch, just sit back and watch the Lord work, you know, in the midst of chaos. All right. In the midst of chaos. All right. It says, you need not fight in this battle. Take your positions and stand and witness the salvation of Yahweh who is with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Do not fear or be dismayed. Yeah, so don't fear. You know, you're not supposed to fear Jacob's trouble, or you're not supposed to fear the microchip. You're not supposed to fear Esau. You're supposed to fear who's in control of everything. You know, who's bringing Jacob's trouble, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. And if you fear the Lord, then you're going to trust the Lord that he's going to fight for you. All right. It says, do not fear or be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord is with you. Jehoshaphat bowed with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell down before the Lord, worshiping him. The Levites from the sons of Kohathites and the sons of Korites stood up to praise the Lord God of Israel with a very loud voice. And by the way, I'm reading this in the AMP, just so you know. All right. Revelation, Revelation. Second Chronicles 20, and this is the point, verse 20. The subheading, it says what? Enemies destroy themselves. So could you imagine that? And the time we're coming into, you're gonna have the enemy. Hey, the scriptures even tell you, when your ways please the Lord, even your enemies shall be at peace with you. So imagine your enemies at peace with you, but they're fighting each other, killing each other. And that's what we're gonna read in the account. All right, so this is what happened, right? Verse 20. So they got up early in the morning and went out into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went out, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe and trust in Yahweh your power, and you will be established secure. All right, so just believe. This is hey, this has always been how the Lord fought for us, man. Time and time again, captivity after captivity. The Lord has always fought for us as long as we just put our trust in Him. Just believe. All you have to do is believe. All right. In the movie The Matrix, what did Morpheus say? All right, he said he's starting to believe. All right. And what did Neo say? He said, "What are you saying? I'm gonna have to dodge bullets?" And Morpheus was like, "Soon you won't be, you won't have to, because what? Neo ended up getting the faith of being able to stop bullets, you know, to believe, And hey, the Lord's about to raise men up on a whole nother level in the time we coming into, man. All right, the power that you see in these different movies, hey, yeah, that's coming back. All right." All right, verse 21, it says, Believe and trust in his prophets and succeed. When he had consulted with the people, he anointed those who sang to the Lord and those who praised him in the holy priestly attire as they went out before the army and said, Praise and give thanks to the Lord, for his mercy and loving kindness endureth forever. When they began singing and praising, Yahweh set ambushes against the sons of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Judah. So the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Edomites, the so-called white man, during this time. It says, so they were struck down in defeat. For the sons of Ammon and Moab, suspecting betrayal, rose up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, completely destroying them. And when they had finished with the inhabitants of Seir, they helped to destroy one another. So the Lord literally caused it to where, like in the beginning, Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, they was trying to fight. They was getting ready to come up against Judah. All right. And hey, Jehoshaphat just prayed to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and the Lord said, look, I got you. So what did the Lord do? He had it to where these nations started fighting each other. They killed each other. Right? It says, when the men of Judah came to look out the tower of the wilderness, they looked toward the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies lying on the ground, and no one had escaped. When Jehoshaphat and his people came to take their spoil, they found much among them, including equipment, garments, and valuable things, which they took for themselves, more than they could carry away. So much that they spent 3 days gathering the spoil. So after the enemies were defeated, they killed each other. Jehoshaphat and the men of Judah in Jerusalem, they took all the spoils. And they said there was so much valuable things, equipment, that they had to go back for 3 days, back and forth, getting all the materials, right? All the valuable things, all the spoils. So not only did the Lord bless us and fight for us, but He gave us in abundance. That's the time we're coming into again. The Lord is going to fight for us, destroy all our enemies in our eyes. We're going to see this, and then we're going to be able to take all the spoils, all the goods. Imagine that. You got all these thousands of people coming to fight you, and they end up fighting each other. They all die, and now you're left with all the good stuff that all their armor, all their weapons, valuable things, gold, whatever they may have on. And hey, there was so much that they spent 3 days gathering the spoil. That's the time we coming into again. All right. These things were written for our learning, man. So we in some very, very serious times, man. Yahweh Shemel Shai is gonna raise us up. Do you believe though? Now let's get the account of King David. All right. We're gonna get it in the Amplified. 1 Samuel 17 and verse. All right. 1 Samuel 17 and 39. 37. David said, Yahweh who rescued me from the paw of a lion and from the paw of a bear, he will rescue me from the hand of the Philistine, right? Because King David, wrestled a lion and a bear, you know, slayed a lion. All right. So, and how did he do that? By the power of Yahweh Shemi Awashai. See, it's never of us. It's never of, it's the Spirit of the Lord that delivers. Let me see something real quick. Yep. So, yeah, let's read that again. 1 Samuel 17 and 39 or 37. David said, Yahweh who has rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, he will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. Yeah, so David killed a lion and a bear with the power of the Lord. And Saul said to David, Go and may the Lord be with you. Then Saul dressed David in his garments and put a bronze helmet on his head. Yeah, and during this time, everybody was scared of Goliath. Nobody wanted to mess with Goliath. All right, this man was huge, a gigantic Philistine that even King Saul or Saul, because by this time, David was already anointed king, but Saul, even Saul was scared. Real quick, Salakia. All right, just wanted to fact check that. Yeah. All right. So yeah, David was already anointed king when he killed Goliath. All right, so this is verse 39 or 37. It says and Saul said to David, Go and may the Lord be with you. Then Saul dressed David in his garments and put a bronze helmet on his head and put a coat of armor on him. Then David fastened his sword over his armor and tried to walk, but he could not. So the armor was too big for David because he was not used to them. And David said to Saul, I cannot go with these because I am not used to them. So David took them off. So, King David said, I don't need this armor. I don't need this sword. I don't need none of this. I'm going to just trust in the power of Israel. Then he took his shepherd's staff in his hand and chose for himself 5 smooth stones out of the stream bed and put them in his shepherd's bag, which he had in his shepherd's pouch. With his sling in his hand, he approached the Philistine. The Philistine came and approached David with his shield bearer in front of him. When the Philistine looked around and saw David, he derided and disparaged him because he was just a young man with a ruddy complexion and a handsome appearance, right? So King David, he didn't look like a warrior. He was a shepherd's boy, He didn't have no battle scars on his face like a warrior. So, Goliath was like offended. He was like, who is this little boy coming to fight me? Who is this? Who is this, small guy? Right? The Philistine said to David, Am I a dog that you come to me with a shepherd's staff? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. The Philistine also said to David, Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the sky and the beasts of the field. So, this Philistine Goliath was talking big shit, He was talking shit. And hey, look, anybody that comes up against Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you're gonna be destroyed. Even in this time, you got scoffers, mockers, our enemies. They're all gonna be destroyed, man. All right. Then David said to the Philistine, "You come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of Yahweh of hosts, the God of armies of Israel, whom you have taunted. This day Yahweh will hand you over to me, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. And I will give the corpses of the army of the Philistines this day to the birds of the sky and wild beasts of the earth, so that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel." So this goes to show you the Lord is the one who raises men up. Once again, Goliath was a mighty man, huge, and all of Israel was scared of this guy. But King David, he went out there with no armor, no sword. All he had was some stones, 5 stones, which 5 represents power, you know? And the Lord put the spirit on that stone to slay Goliath. All right. And hey, I can't wait to see this in the kingdom, man. To see this, like the Lord show you like a hologram or a replay to actually watch this account in real time. All right. We're gonna see that in the kingdom, man. Right? It says this verse 46, "This day Yahweh will hand you over to me, and I will strike you down and cut off your head, and I will give the corpses of the army of the Philistines this day to the birds of the sky, wild beasts of the earth, so that the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that this entire assembly may know that Yahweh does not save with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will hand you over to us." And that's the mentality we gotta have coming into Jacob's trouble. Get ready to slay the dragon, this beast system, getting victory over the beast, the mark, and the image. Just remember this, hey, it's not our battle. This is Yahweh's battle, man. The man of war. Just trust in him. The Lord is gonna fight for us. So we literally have nothing to worry about. Hey, who's supposed to be worrying is 2/3 and ye other nations, because they are through. They don't trust in 2/3 of our people don't trust in the Lord. So they're gonna die because they don't trust in the Lord. Because there's no way you can carnally prepare for Jacob's trouble. There's no amount of guns or ammunition that you can stock up to prepare yourself for the worst time in history. The only thing you can do is trust in the Lord to deliver you. All right. Verse 48, "When the Philistine rose and came forward to meet David, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet the Philistine. David put his hand into his bag and took out a stone and slung it, and it struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone penetrated his forehead, and he fell face down onto the ground." So the stone literally sunk into his head. This was like the first gun ever created. The Lord put the spirit on David to have the first gun. And you probably heard it when he slung that stone. People heard it, and it penetrated Goliath's head. A headshot. One shot kill. He threw one stone and it killed him. It said the stone penetrated his forehead and he fell face down on the ground. All right, and during this time, you had all the Philistines, and you had all the Israelites, watching King David, watching this account, and everybody was nervous. They were scared for King David, but King David, he had the faith of a lion. He had the faith of the heart of a lion. All right, he had the faith of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and he went out there and slayed Goliath, man, with a headshot. It says, "So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and he struck down the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in David's hand, so he ran and stood over the Philistine, grabbed his sword and drew it out of its sheath, and killed him and cut off his head with it." So not only, hey, the Lord is cold, man. The Lord had it to where he killed Goliath. He ran over there, took Goliath's sword, and cut his head off with it. All right, all in the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So how is God all love, right? It says, when the Philistines saw it, when the Philistines saw that their mighty champion was dead, they fled, they ran away. The men of Israel and Judah stood with a shout and pursued the Philistines as far as the entrance to the valley and the gates Ekron, and the fatally wounded Philistines fell along the way to Sha'arim, even as far as Gath and Ekron. The sons of Israel returned from their pursuit of the Philistines and plundered their camp. So, hey, yeah, you already know the house of David, the men of the Lord were turned up during that time. When they started running, hey, the men of the Lord started chasing after them, you know? And this is how the Lord gonna be with us, man. Like, you gotta envision this. Imagine like we always go into the FEMA camps and they coming in, kicking in doors, the enemy coming like a flood. Well, imagine you have a whole convoy, 100 troops, military soldiers come to find you and kill you, mercenaries, and they coming to kill you and they kick in your door and something happened where you'll cover your face like this, and and then you look like this, and everybody's just dead. Everybody around you is just dead. And you got all these weapons on the ground, you got all this armor, you got all this. That's how the Lord is about to fight for us. All right. So miracles, man, and that's gonna turn brothers up, man. An account like that is gonna turn your faith is gonna be shot to the maximum. All right. Now let me get the account. Let me get the account of the 185,000 Assyrians. All right. It's the book of 2 Kings 19 and 35. We're going to start up a little bit. 2 Kings chapter 19. All right. So this is when the Assyrians were coming to pretty much overcome what was it, King Hezekiah, I believe. Yeah. And Isaiah. Yeah, okay. Yep. So like I'm just reading up a little bit, see where we're gonna go. All right, so 2 Kings 19 and verse 35. We're going to start at 30. It says, "And the remnant that escaped of the house of Judah shall yet again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of Yahweh of hosts shall do this. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, saith Yahweh." Yeah, so they were coming, you know, to the city, and there was hundreds of thousands, right? It says, "For I will defend this city to save it for my own sake and for my servant David's sake." And it came to pass that night that an angel of Yahweh went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000, 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh. All right, so imagine that 185,000 Assyrians coming to ransack the city, and you praying to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, You wake up the next morning and all you see is 185,000 dead bodies. Why? Because the Lord is going to fight for us. This is things written aforetime, written for our learning. Beat out faithful unto death. The Lord going to give us the crown of life. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. So the Lord is going to fight for us. Exodus 14:14, the NIV. The Lord, and this is what the Lord told, this is what Yahweh told Moses. He said, Yahweh will fight for you. You need only to be still. Just chill, just relax. We don't need to go to the gun range every week. We don't need to be making doomsday bunkers and stocking up food and water. Just trust in the Lord. Just believe that the Lord is with you. Believe in the scriptures. Proverbs 29:25. The fear of man bringeth a snare, a trap. Yeah, because hey, even boxers, like famous boxers like Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson and stuff. Look, I forgot who it was. One of them said it. They say, I defeat my opponent before I even get into the ring. During the stare down, when the two boxers are staring each other down, the face off, you can sense the fear. When you sense that fear, the body language, you already got the victory. All right. So when you fear, that's your ass. All right. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso trusted in the Lord shall be safe. Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am Yahweh. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Yeah, so the Lord is going to exalt himself in the earth by exalting his men. Joshua 1:9. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Yeah, so be strong. The Lord is setting up men of war, man. Be courageous. Believe. And if the house of David was men of war, man, mighty men of war that are back on this earth again. And the Lord is going to raise his men up. The Lord is going to do mighty things with the house of David. It says, be strong and of good courage, not afraid. Neither be thou dismayed, for Yahweh thy power is with thee wheresoever you go, bro. Wherever you go, the Lord is going to be with us. Do you believe, though? That's what it comes down to. Do you believe? All right? So only believe. If you don't believe, you're not going to receive. All right? All right. Hey, Shalom, brother Naquam, the water for the precepts. Beautiful precepts, as always. The water, addition to the lesson. So with that, hey, call Yabashmil Shai. Until next time, Shalom. The Lord is going to